you.
this? Oh, this is intriguing.
Oh,
Who's this?
this is
And
That's
you
my
talking about
game.
from the S Creatives game.
the recorder will
Yeah.
start.
I'm
IQ
trying to
level?
help. You feel?
Cool. Oh,
So
I
the ropes
love
can
these
go into
games.
pieces, but the ropes can't twist, you know? That's the problem. So it's really easy to beat the game now.
I think that's because it's in 2D, if I'm correct. So you should need some 3D elements in it, and that should do the trick, maybe.
It's got a Z depth, so it should know which depth that each rope is at. And so that shouldn't be an issue. You should be able to layer this, and it should be fine. The problem is that watch. So here's what I think the problem is. Right. It when I move this, it stays at a depth, and it stays at this depth.
Yeah.
But I need it when I move it to come forward Z depth wise, so that it's at a this part is at a higher Z depth than this is, so that it overlaps when I pull it back
Oribia.
over.
Oribia.
But
Yeah,
this
but
is
Huh?
when
Cidne?
you say that,
Susano
all the ropes going
Dang it.
upwards. Yeah.
Uh-uh.
But yeah, I mean, actually, you might be right with the 3D thing. But I think
Yeah,
this is a Z depth issue. So
Either,
it's like,
did you guys see the noodle frog one? Even that has like a depth thing. But that was executed really well, that you can see if a noodle is under, yeah, the ramen frog, like something like that. Like you have to pick the ramen
Oh yeah.
one by one. I think maybe it's a shading issue. Let me try to find that game.
Yeah. Thank
Good
you.
morning after
I was-
night, everybody.
yo.
Hello.
hello.
Oh, Noodle Tangle.
Oh, I almost had
Check
it.
this. Maybe this is I put it in the chat. So this has like depth. Uh, like they do depth kind of well.
I don't know, creative. I'll work on it some more, and I'll get back to you. Okay, I don't know if I can get this or not.
All right. Thank you very much, man. Let's do office hours now. Yay.
I prefer Academy.
Let's do it. It's a little bit of both. It's Office Academy, Academy hours,
Oh,
Office
yes.
Academy, Astro hours, something like
Awesome Atomy. That's great.
that. Ooh, that's actually just a good name anyway. Okay, so first, let me check in with everyone. The last real lesson was shared yesterday. I say real because there's going to be a lesson 8, but it's going to be like breaking down existing games that are successful to kind of show how all the lessons from the previous 7 have been applied. So you're not going to learn new stuff. It's more you're just going to kind of see things in action. So lessons 1 through 7 basically cover all of the topics and all the material that we want you guys to have for making games. So first of all, I think Mine's Fun Game said he did the quiz. Has anyone else gone through everything? And if not, just either speak or say in the chat where you guys currently are.
I didn't start it yet, but I might do the so tonight or tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
I think I'm at lesson 5 myself.
Toxic, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed.
I know. I'm disappointed in myself as well.
IQ level up, you've IQ leveled down. Come on, man. No, overall this looks good, and I'm looking at the responses on like the quizzes, and it's getting pretty good turnout. So overall, you guys are making good progress. By the way, one other thing I'll say is the original plan was to kind of do it through the end of the week, and I think as far as like these daily sessions, that probably will end on Friday. Although we'll see. But what I'm also toying with is kind of maybe keeping it going through next week. Not because there's going to be new lessons or anything, but I'm wondering if we might want to spend a little more time just as a group going over every technique that we're trying to kind of spread around and popularize, and maybe do a little more deep dive in everyone's games. So whether or not there's a hard deadline on Friday or even Monday is still kind of up in the air. And I've said this many times, but I really want you guys to know this. Astro Academy is as much a learning experience for us as it is for you guys. And so learning what works and what's helpful and all that is one of our main goals. So spending maybe a little more time next week might be another way for us to just figure out how do we make sure everybody's actually making better games. So I say that just because I want you guys to keep working as hard as you can, but I also don't want you guys to stress too much. You don't have to like perfect everything by Friday. And in fact, if anyone's struggling with anything, or if it seems like something made sense, but then you tried to do it and you didn't like the results, let's talk about that through now and the end of next week maybe, and just kind of go deep on everyone's experience using these lesson modules, because really it's more about just making sure that that this is effective, because otherwise, what's the point, right? So anyway, that's kind of the high level stuff. As usual, if anyone has any questions, we can always preempt going over the games to just talk through questions you might have about the lessons or just thoughts or whatever. So please speak up. But in the meantime, I think we can do our usual thing and we can start jumping into, oh yeah, here's DJ, Mr. 10 million, Mr. Diamond Platinum. But in the meantime, we can do some of our usual game testing review stuff, and we'll just kind of take it organically.
I like Mr. Platinum.
Yeah, I mean, he's earned it, right?
That's so true.
Okay, so let me take a look at what's in the queue here. Erica, I don't mind taking a quick look at your game, but I think we're kind of still in the details on this one, right? Is that the case?
Oh, no,
Because
I added some more stuff to it now. I took your advice and changed the wand, fixed the bosses and everything.
okay, actually, no, that's a
Added
great
the
point. Let's
spell
look at
thing.
so, okay, cool. So I'll recap and we'll see what it looks like. But yesterday, Eric and I were going over the game during office hours, and one suggestion I had, and it was a suggestion, but I think it was a safe enough bet, was that you'll see the game in a second if anyone hasn't seen it, but it's like a first-person kind of shooter game. And I feel like the biggest issue that I had, because the game itself is really fun, it's very playable, was that there's this upgrade shop, right? And there's all these cool wands, you can add all these great effects. The problem is that you can't really get the new wands unless you get out of the game loop, go into the shop, experiment with like different stats and see which one you want, buy it and equip it and all that. And for a casual game that you might be playing with one hand on your phone, it felt like that's not how everybody's going to want to play. A lot of people are going to love the momentum of just running around and shooting and all that stuff. And if there was a way to upgrade your wand without leaving that loop, it might make the game a little bit just easier to play. So that was the thought. Let's see how this looks. I will share my screen. Okay. And this is Arcane Blast from Erica.
Yo, Amir.
We do have the whole team here. We have Amir and
You appeared
Andre.
as soon as I said that, you appeared.
Hey guys, what do we have here?
Andre, for anyone that doesn't know, Andre is one of the lead AI developers, and Amir handles catering. So whenever we have a meeting, Amir always makes sure there's lunch and snacks.
Little sandwiches.
Okay. So here is Erica's first-person shooter. We are blasting our way through demons and wraiths and ghosts and what have
You
you.
passed the wand, Alex. It's glowing in the screen. On the
Oh, did I?
fields.
Oh, there it is.
Right there.
Okay. This is exactly what I was hoping for. So now, oh wow, how convenient. There's a hand already built into it. Okay, great. So I get a new wand and I get this upgrade without leaving the game loop. So personally, and I say this all the time, but I repeat myself because it's important. This is something for testing because this is a matter of opinion and it's really good to collect as many as possible. But in my opinion, this is an upgrade to the game because it means I can just keep running and gunning. I can keep button mashing while also enjoying the weapon upgrades. Oh, I have a triple shot. That is awesome. See, so now, Erica, I'm curious what you think, but I can tell you as a play tester, my first thought is that the game, without any change on my part, I play the game exactly the same. This game just feels more engaging now because now I'm keeping an eye out for upgrades that I originally was just kind of missing altogether, right? I do think, by the way, that upgrade screen is popping up too often. I feel like when I'm playing it, I'm
Oh,
almost
okay.
just feel like I'm being spammed by it a little bit. It's great. I just think maybe space it out a little more. But
Or maybe
that's
like the waves will be longer or something.
exactly that's what I mean. Exactly. But yeah, I think this is great. I feel like now I get to enjoy all the different because you have so many wands with cool effects, and the fact that I can experience them without the gameplay itself being more complicated. Oh, and you fix the boss. Nice.
Mhm. I made him a little bigger now, so then he's glowing when he's bigger, and and need to hit him some more too.
Yeah, yeah, just a little bigger. This dude is not skipping leg day. Nice.
And if you go to the shop, you could upgrade the wand too.
Yeah, I mean, I won't do that, but I believe you.
And then there's a spell section, everything.
Okay, let's check it out. Spells. I will say this, in a world of demons and magic, Water Blast sounds a little bit underwhelming, but let's find out. I can bring in a squirt gun.
You already
to a-
had Water Blast already equipped. You just unequipped it.
Oh, well, see, this is what you get when you ask me to use the shop. Okay, new
You-
wand upgrade. Oh, wow, look at
I-
this. So, oh, and did it freeze the boss?
Yeah, it froze the monster.
Yeah, so maybe it looks like you have maybe a minor issue with that guy just becoming a cube. It's a little bit confusing,
Oh, okay.
but
I'll need some help with that offline, but I guess we could just talk about it at that. Go to the
Sure.
shop and try to upgrade your wand now.
So I go to wands. So wait a second. These are the ones I had, right? Oh, I can upgrade. I have Frost Scepter, so I want a better Frost Scepter. I want an even better Frost Scepter. I want the best Frost Scepter. No, I can't afford it. Okay. Let's see what I got. Yeah, so I definitely feel like the level up screen is kind of disruptive, but
Mhm.
it's a minor. So it's mostly they're just bigger and kind of more damaging, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, and look, for me, it's just my opinion, but I think this is a huge improvement to the game. So maybe see what other people think, but or if you like it too, maybe just run with it. That's also totally valid. How do you feel about it now that you've made this change?
I do like it. I guess I'm just hoping the performance stays. Like when I try to fix it on my phone, it keeps refreshing, but then when you play it, it seems fine. So maybe it's just like an Astra issue because it just happens when I'm basically adding wishes, and then it just says it keeps refreshing itself when I'm trying to add wishes and play it in the
Oh.
Astrocade.
Are you playing the game in play mode on your phone? In other words, not inside the creator mode where you can
I'm
make
playing
wishes?
it in the creator mode. Where I make the wishes.
Oh,
It's a possibility there's some quirk there that's causing trouble. So maybe try playing it as a player on your own phone and just make sure that it's not, because I haven't run into this, and it sounds like from your testing other people aren't running into it. Is that true?
I think I think like yeah, because they played it. Skull Hunter played it. You played it, and then it seemed okay.
Okay, cool. Well, keep an eye on it, but if you can get it to run okay on your phone outside of the creation mode, and other people don't have a problem, it's probably not a big deal. But great work. Looks really good. And
Thank you.
again, great job kind of stepping out of your comfort zone. It's really cool to see you make a totally different kind of game.
Thank you.
I agree.
All right, so next up, let's look at Toxic's Splinter Rush. Toxic, anything you want to say about this? I'll jump in, but
Sure. Smash some trees.
man, a few words. Wait a second.
What's going on? That's not right.
Let's try that again. That's
Hold
a
on a
little...
second. I was literally just playing it. Oh, maybe I have a load issue.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Well, perfect timing since lesson 7 is all about download speeds. So
Yeah, I don't have
maybe
that
check it
problem.
out.
You go ahead.
Okay. So I can't pretend I'm playtesting this. I have already seen this game, but I'll kind of just recap what I originally thought. So Toxic shared this game a few days ago. And what I loved about it is it looks really cool. It's very original, like this idea of cutting a tree. Oh, look at that. This is the tree map. Yeah. Wow. So you have a literal skill tree. That's awesome. That's a very funny pun. I like that. Okay, so this is before the skill tree was part of the game, and my original feedback was that I liked the idea, I liked the concept, I loved the look. As always, Toxic's games look great, but that my biggest issue is that at the time you could tap the thing to swing the axe would come back, and you kind of had to tap it at the speed of the swinging. Like the swinging was kind of this fixed animation, and you had to wait till it was done. And the only thing that wasn't really working for me was that it felt like if I wanted to tap really fast, I was being artificially limited by that, right? So, I guess there was a time limit. My bad. Let me just start this over. So the change that I've personally seen since that was that now, there's definitely some loading issue here. Maybe something to look into. What if there's some big asset that's clogging this up or something? Maybe something to think about. But now you'll notice if I tap fast, I can chop really fast, which makes the game just feel a lot more satisfying because now I feel like I've got not only the ability to swing this big heavy axe, it's like a superpower, but I also feel like anything I can do in real life, like I can just tap my phone quickly, is also being recognized by the game. It doesn't feel like there's an artificial barrier. And to me, I just noticed the squirrel. That's awesome. For me, that made a huge difference, and it was a really small tweak, but it went from the game feeling kind of what's the word? The whole game felt throttled in a really unfair way to suddenly feeling just super fluid. So the beauty of testing is that somebody can say, this one little fix is going to like unlock all the kind of juice that I'm going for as a player. And in this case, it was easy enough to add. And just I can speak for myself. Other people should have their opinion kind of contrasted with what I'm saying. But for me, it just unlocked the game, going from like a cool idea to actually fun to play. So Toxic, how has the rest of your playtesting gone? Like, what have other people thought? Oh wow, look at that! I literally got a saw by sawing the tree.
Some of it's been not good. Some of it's been good. Manvi didn't like it very much. Other people seem to like it. I
No.
think it's kind of.
Okay. I stop. No, okay. I didn't say I didn't like it. I just said I think it can be more satisfying.
Okay, fair enough. So
Yeah, that's not what she told us, but
Alex, stop it. Oh my God.
So it's basically a round base, right? So you have a timer at the top. You do as much damage to the tree as you could possibly do to the tree. Then the round ends. All the eggs that you have that are coming out of the tree, they're going to hatch at a moment. They might give you rotten eggs. They might give you amber. The amber is used to upgrade in between rounds. Every time a round ends, the game's over. But you put points into your character tree, which persist into the next round. So each time you get a little bit stronger, and it gets a little bit more visually crazy, and what I would like to think is rewarding, but maybe it's not so rewarding for other people. But so that's pretty much the whole game loop. The more you go, the more stuff drops from the top, which you start out with just pine cones and pine needles, and then eggs, and then squirrels, and then TVs, and then boots and cars or whatever may come out of the trees. And so that's kind of like the loop, and that's kind of where the reward is. The further you go, the kind of crazier it gets. You got, like the squirrel and whatnot.
Yeah, I love that. Well, another thing we talked about a lot was that something you had told me, and I think you mentioned this in class a couple times, was that maybe your biggest stumbling block in this game was not execution, but it was just coming up with the game mechanic in the first place. So walk us through that. Where did this idea come from?
Well, you had talked about taking everyday jobs that you typically do that may not be fun or may even be mundane, and then taking the mechanic from that and turning it into some kind of game mechanic and then building around that. So we got Knox who did pressure washing. I tried to do vacuuming or squeegeeing, and eventually I found a person chopping a tree in a game and said I like this, and so I used the mechanic.
Oh, cool. So was it the inspiration came from a game or something like a YouTube video? Okay, cool.
It came from a game.
Nice. And that's something we talk about a lot in the first couple lessons of Astro Academy, which is, the majority of games don't have a fundamentally original game mechanic. Most match 3 games by definition did not invent match 3, but they all express and explore match 3 in kind of their own unique way. Like Candy Crush famously does it with candy, but you can make your own match 3 game that's like, car parts or something, right? And the game itself functionally is the same, but to a player it feels different because you're kind of in a different world and you're exploring this different vibe. The colors are different, the textures are different. Maybe there are rules that are kind of unique to that theme, like in Candy Crush, maybe you get a power-up that's like a Sugar Rush power-up, but in the car part match 3 game, you get like an engine upgrade or whatever. And so all these kind of thematic layers on top of the core mechanic are how, even though the game is functionally the same, nobody's calling them the same game. Players think of them as different. And so when we all see make Astrocade games, it's really not on us to invent something from scratch. Sometimes we do, it happens. Sometimes you get inspiration, but you shouldn't be waiting to come up with a game mechanic no one's ever made before, because you're going to make one game a decade at that rate. So the idea is find something you like, something you think is fun, but ideally that's also proven that is popular, and then do your spin on it, right? So I think this is a great example of how, Toxic has obviously brought so much creativity to the table, but at the same time, he's using something that's already kind of tested at the core of that creativity, which I think is the best of both worlds.
Also, the other mechanic is collecting the wood and the coins as you chop it. Okay.
By the way, I have not been doing. I have just been swinging the axe because I like doing that. But yes, thanks for reminding. There's more to the game than that. You know what? Actually, sorry, and this is playtesting, and everyone's listening to the playtesting process. I'm going to throw out ideas that might make sense, that might not. Maybe I missed this altogether, but I don't know. Maybe it'd be kind of cool if you just see the first time around a little finger icon just sweeps across the bottom, because I am famous for missing obvious things, which by the way makes me a great playtester, because I will catch all the stuff that people without like severe ADHD, won't catch, right? So like I'll help you beta test it, right? And I don't know, it might be useful.
I tend to do my tutorials at the very end, once everything is complete, and then overlay the tutorial on top.
That's also a great idea. Yeah, very smart. Cool. Well, this looks awesome, man. I'm really, really happy with how this is turning out.
Thank you. And thank you, Manvi.
Manvi provides she's part of the tough love department.
Hey, you need it sometimes. I didn't mind it. I wasn't saying that negatively. Honestly, I love
I'm not always
real
tough
feedback. I'd rather you be.
Okay.
Okay, Chakracraft, are you here? We talked about your game yesterday. If you're here, we can go over the latest today.
I don't see him anymore.
Yeah. Chakracraft is quite the drive-by game submitter. Well, you know what, though? This is the beauty of IQ Level Up recording everything and sharing it. We can go over the game, and we can criticize Chakra's game without the person being here to defend themselves. Oh, wait, never mind. I take it back. Sorry. All right, we've got your game loaded up, Chakracraft. So last time, a couple conversations that I recall was... actually, you know what? How about this? I'll play through it, but why don't you tell us in the chat what you've been working on since? Because at this point, I've already played the game, so I can't give you objective play testing. So maybe it'd be helpful for you to list what you've been working on. Bye, DJam. Thank you. DJam's off to score another 10 million plays, everybody. So better places to be. I will say, while we're waiting for Chakra's response, a couple thoughts that I had, some of which I see as improved, others which kind of look similar, is there's like an interesting idea here of making this game like kind of based entirely around geometric primitives. And like if you unlock characters, they're different shapes, like a circle or a triangle, that kind of thing. And one of my points of feedback was that can work, but that you have to be careful with that kind of theme, because if it looks too plain, people will just think the game is just missing its graphics. And so what I am noticing immediately is there's a little bit more in the way of like glowing effects, kind of halos, and it looks like there's this cool kind of orbiting translucent orb effect around my player. That I think is really cool. So that's a step in the right direction. I feel like this makes the game look a little bit more thoughtfully designed, which is cool. The biggest thing that I'm still noticing, and it's only been a day, so there's no pressure to fix all this overnight, is in my opinion, the UI still feels kind of heavy and kind of distracting. And it'd be great if there were just something a little bit lighter about it. Like maybe it's the same information, but maybe it's not so many black rectangles or something. But those are the two main points of feedback. What I still like about it is that it's just a kind of a simple survivor game where, as far as I know, there's no weapons. And it's really my job to just keep running while collecting things, which I think is great because that's a very, very simple mechanic. It requires very little onboarding. You don't need like heavy duty tutorials. You can just kind of pick it up and go. And it rewards, I think, a long-term play session because you just build up all the experience. You get this longer parade of enemies chasing you, which is kind of fun. So that I think is the strength. Let me go back to the chat and see what Chakra has to say. In fact, I'll use the handy pause. Waiting.
He said, "Okay, bye."
I think that was to DJam.
Well, you left right afterwards.
Oh, okay, great. Get on that, Chakracraft. I'm glad we had this Good chat. All right, so let's see what's next. That's my thoughts. Just to recap for the recording, I think the visual improvements are looking better. It definitely looks like it's going in the right direction. And I still have the same opinion on the UI, but it's also my opinion. So see what other people think. Maybe other people like it. Always go by the consensus, as opposed to any one person, no matter how loudmouth they may be. All righty, what do we got next? Oh, so IQ Level Up asks, do you think thumbnail affects players? Like outside it looks so cool in 3D, but you go inside. So first of all, Gabe has had a lot of opinions on this over the last 6 months or so. Something I've heard Gabe say a lot. I don't know if we have like empirical data to prove this, but something Gabe believes, and I think it's a reasonable assumption, is that, yeah, basically to your point, if you've got a thumbnail that kind of raises expectations too high, that can backfire. So that's something to consider. I have another pet theory I've been working on that I think everybody should think about. And in fact, let me see if I can test it right now. I'm going to go to astrocade.com, which by the way is a really cool site you guys should all check out. And I'm going to pick a category. Like for instance, if we are looking at horror is a great example. If you scroll through this, with a couple
Evil
exceptions.
Mom.
Sorry, say that again.
Some of them are extremely dark, like Evil Mom or
Yes. Yeah. Well,
you
okay,
can't
so
know what it
that's
is.
another issue. There's also just brightness to think about, but the main issue for me that I wanted to point out, and again, this is a pet theory, this is not proven yet, but it's maybe worth thinking about, is that there's extraordinary consistency across this category. So almost all of them have a really dark black background, like Toxic said, they're pretty dark, with like this kind of dimly lit foreground element, like, you know, this or this. And all of these look pretty cool on their own, but when you see them lined up, they really blend together, right? Now, if you look at in the middle of all this, though, dark, 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 black, 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 then look at Zombie Dash. It's in the horror section, but it looks totally different. So, and in fact, this doesn't quite prove it, but if you look at it, 44K, 34K, 41K, 81K, 149K. Now, granted, there's exceptions. And again, I have almost no data to prove this, but my hunch would be that all things being equal, if your thumbnail stands out in its category, probably couldn't hurt, and it doesn't seem unreasonable that could help, right? This is definitely something that we can test, and at some point I'd love to give you guys real data. But for now, I feel like it probably wouldn't be a bad idea if you know what genre your game is going to wind up in, to look at those thumbnails and see if you can find a way to make it look a little bit different, right? The other one I've noticed is you go under farming and just look at all the green. It's a lot of green and a lot of blue, like green and blue skies, right? So you see so much of green and blue that when a game stands out with like stellar bloom, it's in the farming category, but it's totally different. Now, granted, this does not prove my pattern, but I feel like some of these games stand out more than others. So my thinking is you can't really hurt yourself by making a more original thumbnail, by maybe choosing a color scheme that stands out. So you might as well do it. It's something I've been thinking about. But for now, it's just like I said, a pet theory to think about. But it's a cool idea. It's an interesting thing to think about.
Yes, it's like natural selection.
Right. And no, Chakracraft, you're actually under arrest. So you're a person of interest in an ongoing investigation, and we prefer that you don't leave the state.
So you're saying we should make a farming horror game?
That's actually exactly what it's much more concisely said than what I spat out. So my thinking is this: start with Stardew Valley, but add Five Nights at Freddy.
Yes, just don't add
Five Nights at the Valley.
99 Nights.
Exactly. Yeah, I guess 99 Nights kind of is a horror farming game in a way.
Oh, it's in my nightmares, that's for sure.
That's for maybe other reasons, but let's see. So I am always really bad at juggling the kind of game testing while also keeping up with the chat. Has anybody been tracking which game is next? Manvi, I'm looking in your direction, but there's no way to tell because it's Discord.
Sorry, I zoned out. What?
Thanks,
Stern got his
co-host.
Granny versus Aliens, I think.
Ah, yeah. Toxic got it. Toxic got it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, if you're sure, I'm sure. Let's check out Granny versus Aliens. I apologize in advance if any of my illustrious assistants here have mixed up the order. Oh, look who's here. Look who's arrived, subtly as ever. You know, I'm asking for trouble here, but I don't hate the idea of people making an entrance. So if anybody else wants to join the ranks of people who cannot walk in the room without derailing everything, I think I'm taking a risk by suggesting this, but I wouldn't discourage it. It might be kind of fun. Food for thought, everybody, if you want to stand out. Okay, so Granny versus Aliens by Storm Hunter. I saw this the other day and I thought it was great. So I'm curious to see if it has been further refined. Okay. Strange loading hiccup. I wonder if it's my internet. Ah, there we go. Nice. So right off the bat, just looks super premium. I mean, look, most of Astro Academy this season is really about focusing on the fundamentals, but I make an exception every now and then. This game just looks so good that I want to kind of call out all the details too. What I love about this game is that it really just feels, at least at first glance, but even after you play it, it just feels like, with all due respect, everybody, a quote-unquote real game. Like, it just looks like this is on the App Store or something. I really love that. And that's something I think we can all achieve that. That's not like that's out of reach, but it is a lot of work, and it's great to see someone put the work in to do that. I mentioned this last time, but I love this detail. You've got this kind of undulating shape of this weird, kind of strange, shape-shifting border. Still curious how that's done. I can imagine a couple ways, but it's actually not obvious. And then what's great is when you walk into it, it has this fill-up effect, so you kind of confirm that you want to start the wave. I don't even know if that's useful or necessary, but it's just kind of fun, so I think it's great. I like it. And I rolled around. Granny is on her motorized wheelchair, and it's an auto-fire game. So my main job is just to move around, avoid enemies, and collect the coins while the gun fires automatically. I still think, just thinking out loud, and by the way, great little details. Granny has like kind of wisecracks as you're playing the game. Stuff like that is super fun. One thing that I might think about is, first of all, I do wonder if maybe everything's a little bit too tiny. Like on the one hand, it's great having so much space to move around, but on the other hand, I can especially imagine on smaller devices, this might feel a little bit hard to see. And I say that also because, you know, just the artwork is all very well kind of chosen. I forgot about the Ghost of Grandpa. And so, you know, I'd hate for people to miss the quality of this. So making things a little bit bigger is a way for it to stand out more. I mean like maybe a 10, 15% bump in scale, because you don't want to change the proportions so much that the gameplay dynamics change. But I don't know, I could personally use a little bit more just visual depth that you get from making things a little bit bigger. And then the other thing is, even though there's so much great attention to detail, just my personal tastes, I would love for there to be a little bit more sense of friction and force transfer when the bullets hit the bad guys. Right now, they kind of, I'm on a bubble gum, that's a great reference. They kind of just take the shot, but I'd love to, like, for instance, I'm damaging this guy. I'd love to see him just skid backwards a little bit. Ooh, that was scary. He like rushes at me. That is awesome. But I'd love to see him just skid back a little bit every time he takes a hit. But I mean, everything else is so great. This is a very small nitpick. And then we've got, by the way, Erica, if you're still paying attention, this is kind of what I meant about a really good pace for an upgrade screen popping up. Notice that, you know, I got a good amount of enemies done. I got through a whole boss fight, and then I got this shop and the opportunity to upgrade. I know I did get one with the Grandpa's Ghost in between, but I feel like this is a good, pace, right? It's popping up enough that I feel like I have the opportunity to upgrade and advance the game. Oh, look at this, new backgrounds. This is awesome. But it's not popping up so much that I'm distracted by it. Little stuff like these camera zooms, you know, again, I don't think it really does anything functional, but it just adds a lot of richness and makes the game feel more alive. I feel stuff like that is just super useful for the player feeling engaged, and it also makes the game kind of memorable. Like, this will stay with me in a way that a simpler execution of the same idea might not. So when you're in that phase of adding juice, something we talked about on Astro Academy is that the juice you add should have a reason. Like, you should be able to justify why you're adding that effect. But on the other hand, it's like, sometimes you add things just because it's cool. And you don't want to overplay that card because if you do it too much, your game might just seem kind of random and chaotic. But, give yourself a little bit of freedom to add things just because you think it's going to be polished and shiny and fun, right? Not everything has to have a completely practical justification. So my suggestion would be base most of your juice decisions on things that you can explain. Like I added X because of Y, but also, maybe add a couple more that are just for the fun of adding something shiny and polished. Yeah, I love this. Storm Hunter, is there anything else you want to share about your process, or actually more importantly, where the idea originally came from? Because I think, we're seeing you having fun with all the juice and all the effects, which is kind of the place everybody wants to wind up. But how did you initially get over the hump and get the game started?
I find that when making games like this, I had a general idea what I wanted it to be, but I find that there's a lot of placeholders that I use in the beginning. So at the beginning, you want to just start with the basic building blocks. So I couldn't tell you exactly what my initial prompt was, but you want to just start with I knew I wanted kind of a Vampire Survivors kind of look with auto attacking. I decided to go with one dimension only for the sprites just because of the way that you have to shoot in different direction than you're actually moving. And I didn't want to have floating shotguns and stuff like that. So really when you start, you just want to get the basic mechanics down. Like if you break this game down to what it is basically, it's a sprite moving around on a screen, auto targeting enemies that spawn in waves. And then you could upgrade your stats from there, right? So the initial game looks pretty janky, but then you start adding in the polish and stuff later. Like the polish really is probably the last 20 to 30% of the actual building process, just because you're going to find as you're playing, doing the mechanics and playing through your game and stuff, that some things are fun and some things aren't. So if you start polishing too early, you're just going to end up wasting a lot of time, I find.
Yeah, that's a great point. The thing about polish is, we call it polish for a reason. If you're making furniture or something, you're not putting polish on while you're hacking up the wood, right? It's like the last step. Once everything's built, you add that layer of sheen to it. And it really is true here because even though the polish may seem from the player's point of view that it's just this layer of prettiness on top, as far as the game is concerned, it's still a functional part of the game. There's code, there's assets. And if you start mixing up the code that does this or does that, it just structurally makes the game a little bit harder to manage. So to kind of get the core functionality done, make the game play well, and then add all the fun stuff, I think that's a very smart way to break things down. It'll save you a lot of headache. But there's one nuance that we try to talk about a little bit in the lessons, and I'm curious what you thought about this. Where do you draw the line between the kind of juice or the kind of polish that really is just about making it prettier, making it flashier, versus the kind of polish that is close enough to the feel of the game that you consider it kind of part of the game functionality and not just beautification? Do you know what I mean?
Do you have it for instance?
Yeah, so here's an example. The way the character moves around, there's just the slightest hint of softness to it, right? It doesn't perfectly start and stop. It's very subtle, but in fact, maybe I'm even imagining it, but I feel like the way the character moves, it feels just a little bit light. Do you know what I mean? Like in a good way. It's got this kind of softness to it. So I'm wondering if that was a deliberate choice, and I'm wondering if you thought of that as part of the game or something you just added at the very end after everything else was done.
Yeah, that's a good observation because there actually is a very slight smoothing done to it. And it's touchy, of course, because you don't want too much, because you don't want drifting around into stuff, because the game, I guess taking a step back, you have to think about the feel that you're going for in the game and how the mechanics are going to play into that at the same time. For a game like this, you don't want, for example, busy backgrounds, because it's a game about dodging. So keeping that in mind, you don't want super slippery movement because, again, it's a game about dodging, and you don't want the player to get frustrated by sliding into enemy bullets when they're trying to do a 90-degree turn or something like that.
Right,
so to answer your initial question, when did that come in? It came in about halfway through. Once Granny's movement was figured out, you play it a few times, you test it, you're kind of tweaking the movement speeds and stuff like this, and then it's some of the stuff just kind of happens organically. You're sitting there playing it, you're like, you know what, it feels too rigid. You just throw in a quick prompt. I want Granny to move a little bit smoother, or whatever your prompt might be, just use like a adjective like slightly smoother or something like that, or apply a little bit of smoothing to the movement, and boom, and then it just does it, and
Oh,
you have a
that
very
was
slight.
the actual wish was like make it slightly smoother or something.
Make it slightly smoother. Yeah, that's all you have to do, and you can tweak it from there. But honestly, it's pretty good at just the AI is pretty good at just throwing in just little subtle changes.
Mhm.
And if you don't like it, you can tell it to make it more or increase it by 50% or something like that. But honestly, that's all it was. It was me playing it, and it feels a little jank, like it's too rigid. So make
Mhm.
it a little smoother, and there you go.
Yep. Cool. Well, I'll ask you also the $1 million question for everyone this season around. What was your play testing experience like? Did you show it to anybody or watch anybody play the game and get any feedback from that?
Yeah, actually, I did some live play tests with some friends and family members, and I also did a few play tests on here. So it was really
That's
cool of
awesome.
everybody who participated. I really appreciate that. Yeah, actually, some of the main feedback was there were some objects in the background that looked like you should be getting stuck on them, like trash cans and stuff like that.
Mm,
Uh, but obviously, you don't want you to get stuck on things in a game like this, because the most frustrating thing for the player is going to be in the middle of a firefight, and all of a sudden, boom, he's stuck on a little trash can or something and dies.
right.
So basically, what I did then is I spent a bunch of time just redoing all the backgrounds, reiterating through all that, taking all those out. What was another one? Another one was, I think it was either, yeah, one of
Like
the
it's
interesting things actually was the I have another game that was cycling through the algorithm and it was getting a lot of plays. And just having this game set to public had some plays coming into it, like maybe 100 or
Mhm.
two. So
Mhm.
I was able to look at the average play time, and it looked
Yes.
like a lot of people were going through and quitting before really finishing and getting to the first boss. So I threw in Grandpa's Shop that pops up to
Uh-huh.
give, and it happens every time at Wave 2. And just by doing that, I noticed a good probably 50% increase in plays.
Wow, that's amazing. So I'm so glad you mentioned that. The reason I said yes was because the lesson that just dropped last night on download times, I mentioned that one of the ways you can determine if your game is taking too long to load is if you have an excess of play sessions that are in that 0 to 10 second range, and maybe 10 to 30, but I think 0 to 10 is the real red flag, which is a sign that people are seeing like a slow loading or a blank screen that takes forever and they're just bailing, right? Now that's an extreme case. But what you did, which I love because it's even more, it's an even more kind of subtle thing to notice, is you're actually estimating where they are in the flow of the game. So this isn't like a functional problem. It's not crashing. It's not failing to load. These are people playing the game, but you're identifying a spot in the flow of the game where maybe it's dragging, maybe it's you could add some engagement, and it sounds like you did it and it worked.
So I had some feedback on Sturm's game, and you didn't touch base. I put this in chat, but I'm curious if you think that it's needed here. I have an issue because enemies come from the top and they come from the bottom, but Grandma only faced one direction, so she's in reverse trying to attack. Do you think that's necessary in this game because of the style of it, or do you think that he should face up when moving up, left when moving left, and down when moving down?
I think we lost him.
No,
You
no,
hear
I'm
me?
still here. I was just waiting to
Oh,
see
oh, there you
if I was going to see if Alex responded. That was a conscious design decision that I made. I think I touched on it earlier because
go.
of the fact that in a game like this, just like Vampire Survivors or Pickle Pete on mobile, there's a bunch of them. You have to figure out how you're going to display the attacks with the same time as the player's facing opposite direction, because she essentially attacks the nearest enemy. So it's just my opinion. Maybe you guys have some more thoughts on it, but I feel like it would be weird if she was like driving left or facing up away from the camera and then shooting something behind her. So I figured that was the best way to kind of display that, and also to kind of cut down on assets as far as like if I got
Sure, that's
Granny
for
moving in
sure.
4 directions, I may have to have some aliens moving in 4 directions. Then I got to redo the boss sprites and stuff like that. So this was kind of my design workaround on how I'm going to display, because some places they would have Granny then moving into 4 directions, and then they have like a floating shotgun that then rotates or something. But I wanted to keep it a little bit more linear, I guess.
Fair enough.
Well, this is awesome. And what I love about it is not only is the game great, but the way you share your process, I think it just sounds like everything we hope people will do. You did testing, you were looking at the analytics of how your play sessions were going. And it's like a perfect case study because it sounds like all of these things gave you actual like real information. Like actually, sorry, real quick follow-up question. You mentioned the trash cans or other kind of apparent obstacles that were just part of the background. Was that something that you didn't really think about until people brought it out in the playtest sessions?
No, it's something I thought about when I initially was playtesting myself on the backgrounds that I had generated at that point. And I thought, oh, that trash can looks a little weird, or that fire hydrant, or whatever it was at the time. And then it's something that, interestingly enough, through my own playtesting, because you're playing your game over and over and over as you're designing stuff, it kind of dropped to the back of my mind, and I didn't really think about it again. And I was just so used to playing the game and not worrying about it that that's actually a very good feature of having playtesting. That somebody else that was new to the game who hadn't played it yet immediately was like, why am I running over this fire hydrant in the middle of the sidewalk? Like, I shotion not be doing this. It totally broke the immersion of the game. So it was a very useful, yeah.
No, that's perfectly stated. And I mean, look, really anything you're doing in life, you could be writing a novel, you could be cooking dinner, you could be whatever. When you get fresh eyes on something after you've been looking at it too long, you instantly get a perspective that you probably wouldn't have yourself. So in your case, it sounds like you actually did already have a hunch it was an issue, but there were probably just so many things in your mind because you're trying to fix stuff, add features, do all this stuff. And just from sheer repetition, it's like you said, it's kind of getting pushed into the background because it's just not what you're focusing on. But all it takes is one person that has no idea what they're in for to notice the things that either you wouldn't see at all, or in this case, maybe that you just kind of stop thinking about. So for anyone listening, this is why there's no substitute for playtesting, because everything that matters about your game between you and your playtesters, somebody will see it, right? But if it's just you on your own, you really can't guarantee you're going to see everything. So you're doing yourself a huge favor by bringing other people into the process. And this is also why it's good to test as early on as possible, because what you also don't want is to get those fresh eyes, but get the and have them shine a light on all the stuff that you missed, but find it out too late and realize either stuff that you really like is a problem, you got to get rid of it, or the change you need to make is buried under so many other features that it's going to break everything. You don't want to be in that situation. So early and often is kind of the recipe for testing. So thanks again. This is great. I mean, the game is great, but your input and your thoughts and your process is like perfect. I hope everyone is taking notes because that was really, really good feedback.
Sorry, I know we're short on time. I just had a quick question for you and anybody else that's in the channel. What do you guys think about Toxic's point as far as making a 4-directional or even an up and down sprite? Do you think it's something that would enhance the immersion of the game, or
let me pull it up again. So first of all, I'll speak for myself, and then I definitely want to hear other people's opinions. I've put this in the videos before, and I've mentioned elsewhere. I definitely do feel like it's really important to make sure that character movement is in some way or another natural. I say in some way or another because every game kind of has different visual rules. Like Survivor.io is my favorite of these kind of genre games. I like Vampire Survivors too. They're both really good. But one thing that Survivor.io does really well is in fact, while we're at it, why don't we just pull it up? Let me see if I can play it online. I know there's an online version of it, but if not, I'll just pull up a video because a video will show the point I'm trying to make. The thing about Survivor.io is that it does not have like fancy character graphics at all. And in fact, the character can't look backwards. He's always facing the camera, but he can face left and right, right? And so for a lot of top-down games, if you can just flip your character, I don't know why I picked the wrong video. It's taking forever to load. But if your character can flip around left and right, that alone will do a lot of the heavy lifting visually.
Not going to have a microphone.
Now, in your case, so check this out. So see how as he's moving around, he's facing the direction, but then he faces the other direction. But when he goes up or down, that doesn't change. So there's no vertical swapping, but there is horizontal swapping, right? So that's one easy thing. In the case of Granny, she's so symmetrical that there's really not much to be gained by flipping. So to me, it's less about left and right. It's more about, do I need Granny to turn her back on me? And like you said, that's a little bit trickier with Astrocade. It's totally doable, but it's more assets to download. You know, the AI might get some detail wrong and her back view looks weird compared to her front view. So it's really a case-by-case thing if you think it's worth it. Personally, I'm kind of two minds here because on the one hand, the game looks so good that it's like you've already done so much great work on the visuals. It's not like this is some big problem. On the other hand, though, you could argue maybe you've raised your own bar of quality so high that this does look a little bit strange because you clearly know what you're doing visually. So maybe it's weird that Granny doesn't change direction. So I'm sorry, I don't have a great answer. Those are just kind of my thoughts. And then maybe others can chime in on what they think is important.
Well, like I said in the chat, you don't have much horizontal movement, but you have a lot of vertical movement. So what if you only flip the asset vertically so that when she moves north, she looks like she's moving north and south, but left and right would just be normal. Or just keep it the way it is, because honestly, it doesn't bother me too much. It's just something that's normally asked for, and it's something that I normally look for is your character move in the right direction. But I actually
Yep.
kind of think this game might be maybe an exception to that rule.
My other thought on this is you mentioned, I'll get into the game so I can show you. You mentioned a comment about how you didn't want the direction that Granny was facing to kind of contradict where she's shooting. But I think that's going to happen either way, right? Because like, here's an example where I'm looking at the camera, but I'm shooting behind me, right? Like, I think it's going to be the case that if you have auto shooting in any direction at the nearest enemy, unless auto shooting also means auto changing direction, which of course I don't think you'd want, I think you're always going to have that issue. So I think it really is more of a visual question. Like, do you just think it looks better? But I don't think it's going to necessarily be confusing.
I saw some feedback, guys. I really appreciate it.
Erica says, I think up and down would be enough. Don't need all directions. I definitely agree that if you do add anything, I think front and back is all you need. I think you've done yourself a favor by making Granny face the camera directly. So there's really no upside or downside to flipping. There's nothing to be gained. Like the horizontal thing is kind of a dodged bullet. But yeah, definitely maybe consider it. Maybe she should turn her back on you. I also, your other point, which is a much more practical consideration that I understand and sympathize with, is if you set that precedent with Granny, does that now mean that every character has to do that? That's a fair point. And considering that you're going to want to have a lot of different enemies, and the enemies already have different animation states, like they have like that attack state, then that might just be asking for just too much headache and too many assets to download, which is a perfectly valid reason not to do it. But this is a great conversation because I think everybody runs into this. So anyone else making a game that's maybe top down or whatever, these are all just different ways to think about this problem. We can't necessarily give you like a perfect answer that applies in all cases, but we can at least help you guys understand the different considerations, and then you can kind of come to your own conclusion. Cool. I am just going rogue as far as order goes. If anyone has any other games to suggest that I may have missed, let me know. But I gotta take a little bit of time to check in with Be Little because Rail Riders. Oh, there's a version number in the thumbnail now. Rail Riders game has become a legit like saga that we're following. Every day there's new cool stuff to check out. So I'm very excited. And I
Oh, hey,
see
it's a free
IQ level
game.
up in high quality type. I already knows I have. Oh yeah, wow. Maybe it is my internet. You know what? I feel like I'm not noticing it. Other stuff, but maybe
Yeah,
it's
my
me.
game don't have very many assets in it, so I was wondering why you were loading so slow. And I noticed your YouTube videos are loading not so great either.
Yeah. That was weird.
Nice transparency. I like that.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple days ago, because I thought these foreground pillars were such a cool idea, but for kind of a slow-moving game, the concern was, is that going to frustrate players? Like you can imagine if all this stuff behind the pillar were totally hidden right now. So this is a really, really good solution to that problem. The other thing that I think I'm noticing, and Be Little, you can confirm this, I feel like I'm seeing more of a kind of a jittery shake effect when I shoot, which is really cool. I feel like every time I play the game, it feels even more real. Like there's more of a sense of feedback and more of a sense of like juice to the shooting mechanic. I mean, the funny thing is we're already at a point where this game looks so good that even big improvements are kind of hard to notice because the game is doing so many things right already, which is a good place to be. It's a good problem to have, right? It means you've already done a lot of really hard work. Yeah, my initial thought is that I feel like it feels a little bit more visceral, a little bit more physical, which is great. I hope I'm not imagining that. And I guess now I'm curious what happens as I progress through the game. I think one of the other suggestions, it was just a random one. It wasn't like a super important one. We talked about other weapon ideas, other kind of rapid fire speeds, because there are really cool weapon upgrades in this game. But I mean, we're just nitpicking details at this point because I think the game itself is in such good shape. Oh, look at that. I got what I wanted. Rapid fire is now super fast. All right, look, I got to say, to me, this is 10 times more fun. That like super fast rapid fire is like a night and day difference that makes it just so much more fun than it was. Because it also means there's a really big difference. So like right now, this is an auto or a manual, whatever. I don't know guns, whatever not automatic is. The difference between this rapid fire, I'm just mowing them down, and the regular gun is huge. And that's good because it means that the upgrade feels really, really different. I feel like for me yesterday, the upgrade, it was cool, but it didn't feel like it was that big a change. Whereas now I get that upgrade and it's like I'm just like a superhero for 10 seconds. I know I'm not playing great, but I'm just focusing on all the great little details. Oh, and we're speeding up. I love those speed lines. I
You
also
must have
feel like
increased your speed. Sorry, Alex, my bad.
Yeah. I kind of going back and forth between the chat and the game, so I'm not really keeping up with the zombie horde, but I feel like the zombies are a little bit faster, or maybe they're not, but they've wait a second. Do we have a shop? Be little, did you add the shop already?
Let's get it.
This. No way. Can I buy anything else? Cool. Very cool. All right, let's go. Yeah, this is just anyone that if you haven't played this game, you know, seeing it is one thing because it looks great, but you just got to play it because it really does feel good. By the way, every time we do this, I nitpick and I throw another little fix-it idea at you. As always, you're welcome to take it or leave it. But the only thing I think is left, because you've just done so much to make this game look and feel great, is if you notice when a bullet hits the zombie animation is phenomenal. The bullet looks really cool. The player reacts to each shot with that shake, and the way the arm goes up is great. The arm kind of kicks back. But the only thing left is that when I shoot the zombie, the bullet visibly just disappears. You've got so much great stuff going on in the animation, but the bullet itself feels like it's a little bit. Seriously, this rapid fire is so cool. Anyway, the bullet itself just feels a little bit anticlimactic. I'm zooming in so you can kind of see the detail. Like the way it just stops to me feels like the one last thing to perfect this. So two possible ideas. One is you could find a way to just make the bullet go a little bit further. Like it might just be that I can see the bullet sink into the zombie and then disappears once it's inside the zombie. Right now, it kind of disappears outside the zombie, which almost breaks the illusion a little bit because I feel like it didn't actually make contact. So it could be as simple as just let the bullet go a little bit further. And in fact, you know what? I take it back. I said I had two ideas, but I actually think that's all you should do. I would just make sure it doesn't disappear prematurely because I don't want to mess with anything else. You've got so much great balance into these visuals here. But I just can't help but notice that little gap between where the bullet stops and where the zombie bounding box begins. So very small food for thought. All right, Manvi, sorry, I don't want to interrupt your nap, but where are we on games? Anything else to play?
Oh, you just woke me up from my nap.
Yeah, that's the joke.
Well, looks like there's no other game. Guys, seriously, no games?
Oh wait, I skipped high quality. High quality?
How
Sorry,
can you
buddy.
skip high quality game?
How can you skip high quality, Manvi? You just said there's no more games.
Hey, I was napping.
Okay. You've turned my accusation into your excuse. That's a clever judo move. You turned it back on me.
Thank you. I love
Of course, Tennis Bat City. We got to play Tennis Bat City. This is another game that has been evolving a lot, like before our eyes. We've all just seen day-to-day stuff gets added to this game, which is really cool. Oh, look at this. We have a title screen now. Bat Launch City. I'm sorry, I'm going to nitpick on this, though. This, I think, is actually a downgrade. I think putting this in front of the game, I mean, it's very simple. I'm maybe being a little bit unfair, although the text is very tiny. As everyone knows, I am not a fan of instructions that come before the game. I think it's always best to put any kind of instructions in the game in context. This is maybe a gray area because the game's pretty simple and there's really just a couple basic things to know. But, you know, it's just a suggestion. Oh, and you still got this down here. I would fix the length of the text, as I mentioned last time, but having it down at the bottom of the screen, I think is fine. All right. So I feel like what is still happening, and high quality, if you share your thoughts, I'll check in a second. I'm not looking at the chat right now, but it looks like we've still got. Actually, no, wait, this is different from yesterday. So yesterday we had that triangle meter that let you decide when to hit the ball or how strong it was going to be or something like that. And now it looks like we're back to timing the swing, and then you've got this red and green power meter. So high quality, what do you think? Let me catch up. I like the bar more than triangle one. Okay, cool. So look, at the end of the day, you should go with what your gut and aggregate other people's opinions. But walk me through it. So, so let me ask you this: is it possible still, like in your opinion, for my timing to be right? Like I swung the bat at the right time, but because the meter is in the wrong place, I still get a weak shot? Or is there a way for this to kind of have it both ways? The flying cars is awesome. That is super cool. That's a great example of juice, because it really makes me feel like I've got like superpowers. It makes just watching the game, even as the player, it makes it really fun. I love that. Sorry, so maybe that wasn't clear the way I asked my question, high quality. My question is this: so the ball's coming at me. I'm going to try to swing it at the right time, but the problem is, I don't know, maybe I got the timing wrong. Maybe that wasn't good, but if I want to swing at a certain moment, but look, the meter was in the red, what do I do in that case? Because then it seems like I have to choose between strength or the right timing, but I kind of need both, don't I? Then you don't swing. Okay, so does that mean, am I supposed to like let the ball just take the, let's see, I'm going to just base it on when it's in the green. Oh, okay, well that worked. Okay, that was good. We try again. I'm just going to base it on when it's in the green. Okay, so I waited for the green, but now I'm missing the ball. And if I do in the green now, oh, wait a second, that's weird. So I swung when it was in the green, but it seemed like that was really premature, but it wasn't. Can I swing any time? Yeah, no, I get that green is good and red is bad, but I guess what I'm confused by is like, does it matter when I swing relative to the ball's location? Does it only matter what the meter shows? Because that was what confused me. I thought I had to like in real baseball, I thought I had to swing the bat at the right time when the ball is close to me. This is not real baseball. That's a fair point. I mean, I can't argue with that, especially because I have never noticed that in real baseball, my tennis ball will make a car go flying. So that's a very fair point. I guess my point though is I do think it's confusing that on the one hand, because the ball is coming towards me, naturally I'm going to swing when I think the ball is close enough from the bat to hit it, but I'm also looking at the meter. So maybe it's just me, and this is why testing can help determine if I'm just a weirdo or if other people agree. But it seems like it's a little bit confusing that the ball's location or distance doesn't seem to matter, because visually it seems like it should matter. Yeah, maybe a tutorial can clean it up. Although I do like the simplicity. The fact that I only have one thing to think about is great. If you're just waiting for the meter to be in the right place, that's definitely a good way to structure the game, because the player should probably only have to focus on one thing at a time. But visually, I can imagine someone being confused, because there I swung at the time that I thought was the right moment, but the meter was in the red, so I got a really weak swing. But yeah, I agree with everyone else. Once the ball goes flying, all this stuff is great. The movement is great. The cars are great. The power-ups are really cool. It's really satisfying when you get one of the distance power-ups. That just feels good. Toxic, what do you think about this? Because this has a lot in common with your ragdoll dismount game.
Funny, I was just thinking that. I gave him some feedback on this, and I'm not sure, I haven't played it since, but I want to be able to nudge the ball, because once you go off track, you're done.
You can, though. I keep forgetting to do it, but
okay.
Yeah, use the arrow keys. So
Okay,
even though I was
must have added that.
Yeah.
I don't really particularly care for your launcher. Like I said, I think it looks like a GameCube, but that's kind of neither here or there. But I do think that the fun comes after you hit the ball, and so I think that
the GameCube thing was a compliment.
Oh, I mean, I love GameCube. That's my favorite system, but I'm not sure if it does so well as a launcher. But I think like what you're saying, I think all the fun comes after you hit the ball. So I think you need to find a way for the fun to happen right here. And I am a little confused on your meter as well. I think you should either do a distance check or you should do the meter, do either one. Sorry, Alex. What was the actual question?
No. You answered it. I was just curious what your thoughts were, especially because you play tested it. One thing we should all get more in the habit of, and maybe I'll lead this conversation more, is if you've play tested somebody else's game, even after the play testing is done, I think in in meetings like this when we're all together, it's good to just recap what the testing revealed, because even if it's not your game, seeing the kind of things that other people discover during playtesting, I think is useful. So just sharing what your opinion was at the time, I think is really, really useful. Very cool. Okay, I'm going to move. So anyway, game is overall looking great. I agree. I think the thing to figure out here, and by the way, don't change the GameCube launcher. I think I support GameCube tennis ball launchers. I think that's a great idea. But the thing that I do think is worth playing with more, because it sounds like both of us agree, Toxic and I, is that the relationship between the ball's distance and the power meter is still not clear. Maybe if you just want to get more opinions from it, just do more play testing and see what other people think. Never just take one, or maybe even two opinions might be too few. Maybe it's good to get 3 or more, but definitely keep exploring that, because I really do think there's something there. But other than that, it's a great game, and you've really captured the spirit of that I think it was Baseball Boy really, really well. Alrighty, I am going to. I promise you, IQ level up. I will get to it. I promise you. I'm just doing it to make you appreciate it all the more when I do finally play your game. But I am going to play C-Spark first, just because I want IQ level up to feel bad.
Oh.
I kid. Yes. I can't hide my biases. I love this game, and I'm not going to hide it anymore. Played this game the other day, and I thought it was great. It's one of these games where you don't really need any explanation. There's no onboarding. You just jump in and start moving around, and it's really fun. It looks great. It plays really great. What I keep doing, I don't know if anyone else cares about this, that I might be just alone in this. Because I'm playing on my MacBook, so I'm using the arrow keys. What I keep trying to do is use the up arrow to go faster. I don't know why I keep reaching for that. And I don't know if the game needs that. I just know that for whatever reason, I keep trying to do that. It may not blend with the vision of the game, which is totally fine. But I just share that as a kind of an instinct that I seem to have when I play this. But man, this game is so responsive. This is a game of it's a perfect model of how a game should feel. Because on the one hand, it's it's kind of sophisticated. It's 3D. You've got this kind of rotational movement. But on the other hand, it just feels effortless. Oh, by the way, my frame rate is dropping because I got to charge my laptop. I'm at 20%. That's not the game's fault if anyone's noticing it.
I was going to
But
say.
it's just such a fast, smooth game. That it's one of those games where even if I don't care about my points, I just like the experience of playing it. So that is awesome. C-Spark, do you have any? Oh, so let me pause this. I noticed your feedback. I added a preloader, some skins for the tunnel, a new random one for each turn. Worked on the physics to get better collision. Also adjusted rotation speed so it increases as the forward motion accelerates. Added pause and settings buttons. Great. I mean, honestly, I don't know how much this game needs beyond what you got. I think I play it, and other than that little acceleration thing that I'm looking for, nothing feels missing. It just feels like a really, really well-balanced game. And yes, simple and effective is a great. Oh, B Little asks a very interesting question. Are we falling or moving forward? My guess is moving forward, because I feel like if I were falling, I wouldn't have the ability to move around the rim of the tunnel so easily. But I mean, it's actually a cool question. It's interesting. Now that I'm imagining falling, it totally
too. Yep, me too.
totally changes the feel of the game.
Now I want to scream the whole way.
Yeah. It's like I'm on the water slide. Wow, B Little, great question. Just asking something subjective totally changed the game. Okay. Now, does anybody have a game, anybody at all, before I play IQ Level Up's game? Anybody? You could make one right now. I'll wait.
That's terrible.
No, it is.
IQ, I'll play your game. You want me to stream it for you?
No, I'm kidding. We're going to play it right now.
I know.
Okay.
Oh,
so I
yeah.
played this game for a it the other day, but I didn't get that into it. So now's a chance to do more of a deep dive. Look at the glowing UN. Click to collect it. Okay, so it says universal, and I'm going to collect the un. So now it just says iversal. Okay, I've got a prefix in my inventory. This is the first time in the history of my career as a gamer that I've had a prefix in the English language in my inventory. So that alone, I think, is worth pointing out. We'll get to Skull Hunter's game in just a second. But yes, you got to get to the magic number 5. Sorry. Okay, back to the game. Select un from the inventory, look at locked, and click. So what's interesting about this game is it's guiding me very it's very much step-by-step guidance. So I'm going to add. Wait. Select un from the inventory. Okay, one thing I'm noticing, by the way, a number of games have this issue. Is it seems like when I'm playing on desktop, I have to kind of free my mouse or my trackpad from the focus of the game. So it's like right now, if I move on the trackpad, I change the camera, but that means I can't access my inventory. So I have to press escape, and then I can press the inventory button. So one way to fix this that might be kind of easy is maybe I use keys on desktop to access the inventory. Like maybe I use left and right to select different things, and maybe it's the space bar or something to equip or something like that. Just thinking it through because it can make games. Oh, there you go. 1, 2, 3 keys. Okay, well, so that isn't clear, but that's good to know that it's there. So maybe just let people know if they're playing on desktop. All right, look at the color sphere and click it to change it to be red. Okay. Oh, that's cool. So I know it says red, but let's just see. I can make it any color, and then I got to make it red to complete the level. So right off the bat, I would just say that whatever the goal of this game is, this is very, very original. This is just completely novel stuff, which I think is really cool. I mean, I was just saying earlier, like, most games are kind of based on well-established patterns and mechanics. And I'm sure there's something out there similar to this. I haven't played a lot of games that feel this way, so this definitely feels like an exception to the rule, where I've got something very, very, very original going on, which is cool. What I'm also noticing is that there's no more hand-holding. So now I realize, in hindsight, that first level, an IQ level up, let us know if this is intentional. I just feel like this was kind of a guaranteed win. We talk about the guaranteed win in one of the lesson 5 or something. And the idea is to say that the player should always have like a really easy time getting through your first challenge, right? Just make it dead simple, or at least just walk them through it step by step. And I think this game did a good job because now I feel like I know how to play the game. It's kind of like wordplay. It's kind of looking for language commonalities. So let's see if I can figure this one out by using what I learned. So this looks like a kind of a fragment of something. TCH, the S, so it looks like it's part of something. And then this says too small, and this says small and large. So, I mean, last time I clicked this, I wonder if this does anything. If anyone has any suggestions, shout it out. Oh, look at that. I was able to collect small. I wonder if I can collect large. Oh, I can collect large. Okay. So, this says too small. I wonder what happened.
Can you select from the inventory the small and touch the sphere?
Okay. By the way, it looks like I got this to work, so I added large to this, and that's just right. But let's do this. Oh, look at that. So this is resizing the size of the word in my inventory. I wonder what happens if I do this. Oh, nothing. Okay. First level, always a tutorial. Exactly right. That's perfectly said. IQ level up. Oh, wait, no, hold on. Is that the sphere that's doing it? Yes, it is. It is the sphere that's doing that. Okay.
The second level, it's not done yet, so it's just the core mechanical stage.
Oh, okay.
So
Got it. Yes.
you can go to the next level.
Yeah, go ahead.
The small one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so look, I mean, what you've got for sure, in my opinion at least, is a really original idea. So really, as long as people can more or less understand it, which I think I'm basically getting it. I think the first level helps a lot. I feel so. Look, it looks like it says needs bold. So I wonder if I can just use this here. Okay, I bolded it. Cool. Is this the same? This looks like this similar to what we had last time. Is this also one of those games where I can just, okay, I can go to the next one. So I'm guessing these other levels are kind of in progress. But this idea of collecting these kind of abstract linguistic elements and applying them with like wordplay, I think that's really, really cool. Looks like I can collect these. Green. Okay, let's see what happens if I. Okay, it's pointing here though. Or maybe if I give it red, I don't know.
You put them down.
Oh, I missed the blue. Sorry, say that again.
You need to put them down in the circle things on the ground.
Ah, I see. Okay.
You go red, green, blue.
Ah, okay. This must be an especially interesting game to playtest because you're seriously seeing people like reasoning, like figuring things out on the fly. Okay, so needs purple. I see red and I see blue. My guess is I need to do some kind of color blending or something. And then it says mixed colors, so that kind of makes that clear. Okay, so I wonder, is there anything behind me? No. Let's see. How do I blend? Let's see, I've got a box here. It doesn't seem like I can pick these up.
It should be. I think it's not
Let's see,
just
mixed.
working for this level.
Oh, okay, I see. But it sounds like what you've got is it's a combination of picking things up and combining them, finding these kind of word relationships, and then things like color mixing, I guess, which is very cool. Okay. I think this is awesome. Do you, other than me playing it in these courses, who else have you shown this to? What's your playtest experience been like?
I think Mavi played it the last time. I don't remember. And I share it with Pikapi. Yeah,
And how did the feedback go? What kind of reaction did you get?
like always, Pikapi said, "Oh, this is cool."
I don't always say that.
I said Pikapi.
Yeah, no, she definitely didn't say it's toxic.
He does not say that.
Oh. Okay, I'm just gonna go back to my nap now.
All right, this is awesome. I love the originality here. This is really cool. What issue did you find? Yeah, Pika P, what was the issue?
I don't remember. Can you remember me? Oh yeah, that's true. Like in the mobile side, like you can't move your character or the object. So I fixed that in the mobile side.
Cool, cool. Yeah, this is great. I love it. Okay, give me one sec. Okay. So, we got one last game. I gotta run in a few minutes, but we'll get the last one done because you don't want to leave anybody behind. Sorry, one moment. I believe our last game is Skull Hunters game, which last I checked involved very little skull hunting. But, you know, the world is a confusing place. Let's see. I'm totally losing it in the chat. I know I say this every time and then I never do anything about it, but we need a better system for like chatting here and then tracking the next gameplay. Okay, I found it. I got it.
Maybe a form?
I don't know. It just sounds
Is
boring.
that too much?
Forms? Come on. Yep. All right, so this is Naruto Merge Heroes. Wait, Merge Heroes or Merge Masters? Seems like it changed.
Oh my God, you need a nap.
Okay, you're up then, Manvi. Take it away. What do you think? Give us an overview.
Well, I think it's a really cool game. I played this quite a lot. But it does seem very close to another game that's on topics. So I did ask Skull Hunter to bring his originality into this game. You can keep the core mechanic, but the visuals and the feel should be yours.
Yeah, so this game, to be crystal clear about two things, is beautifully done. Like the detail, everything about it is great. This is a really, really good piece of work. And despite the similarities to the game that Manvi mentioned, which by the way is on Player's Choice, you can play it right now. It's the Dragon Ball Z merge game. Despite the similarity, this was all made originally. And when I say originally, I mean nothing was like directly copied. This was just Skull Hunter was inspired and just made his own version of this game. And it's really, really well done. The problem, though, is that it is so similar that, just as a community of creators, I think what we want to go for is like inspiration is great. And, we do kind of have a remix feature, although it's a little bit kind of on the back burner right now. So we love the idea of people being inspired by each other and building their ideas on other people's ideas. But there's also maybe a level of duplication that even if you do it manually, still feels like it's too similar, right? And there's maybe two reasons why it's important to kind of be mindful of that. One is from a player's point of view, obviously you want to offer players something unique, right? I think every creator wants that to some extent. And the other one is that, again, being a community of creators, I think we all want to feel like we're inspiring each other, but not necessarily stepping on toes, right? Now, Skull Hunter happens to be very good at this kind of thing. You can tell even from this game, but also Skull Hunter's other games, that just a lot of talent, really good at making these kinds of games. So our feedback is not necessarily like this is some rule that's been broken in an official sense, but that we would just prefer that if you're going to make a similar game, find ways to make it your own, right? Like maybe the UI can be laid out differently, maybe the color scheme can be a little bit different. It doesn't have to be like changing the whole game, but finding ways to make sure that if you put them side by side, they still stand out relative to each other. So that's where we landed on this. But either way, it's really, really well done. So clearly we're dealing with an ability to make a game that I think could be applied to anything, right? So if you're gonna take the time to make a game that's this good, you might as well make it, kind of clearly your own style. But either way, the execution of this game is great. So good work. And what I noticed just from also, I mean, same thing I got with the last game, the Dragon Ball Z game, it is really fun. Like I find myself really into this merging and stacking and building up these more like rare cards in the grid. So it's definitely a proven idea. Yeah, what's up?
Alex, literally everyone on chat wants you to unmute the sound for the game. Oh,
There, you guys happy?
That music was weird. That's not on my part, I think.
Wait a second.
Pikapi was like, never mind.
Hold on. Do I have another game running in the background? I do.
Do you?
Yeah, that
Maybe
might
that
be.
was.
Oh, God.
Maybe. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see.
That's funny.
Wait, hold on.
We don't hear anything.
I was gonna say like, oh wow, great music choice. But yeah, okay, that music was not from this game. This is the problem with Astrocade. You play a bunch of games, they're all on mute, you forget they're in the background in different tabs, and then you unmute for 2 seconds and you're hearing 10 games at once.
But yeah, Skull Hunter, I think you cannot go wrong with these kind of games. These are addicting games, and
Yep.
the feel of this is obviously like really well done, and the cards changing and stuff. But I think there's so many
Ooh, that was
ways you can make this even better. Because you already have inspiration from the Pix game, which is great. Now make it better.
Yep.
Yeah, even I'm
Got
not
it.
a big fan of the audio, but yeah, make it your own. Like things can be like so much cooler. And yeah, just think out of the box a little bit and make this your own game. But on that note, everyone on this chat, like we need to make sure that our games are original. They can be remixes, that's not wrong. Inspiration is really good, but you should make it your own. Otherwise, we're also gonna launch a policy where very close, like literally duplicates of games are not gonna be allowed. Especially for top creators, we encourage you to be more original, remix games and make them better. And that's the quality that we expect.
And on that point, by the way, because a lot of these, policies, rules, whatever, we want to build these with you as a community. We don't just want to push new rules on everyone to follow. So feedback is always welcome. Let's keep discussing this. If anyone has any more thoughts on this, let us know, and we'll do our best to take everyone's perspective into account. We really want it to feel like this is like our community, not just us telling you guys what to do. So let's keep the chat going. But as always, great games. I feel like today in particular, really, really good games. So there's going to be a little bit more lesson material, but the majority of Astro Academy is now available. In the Astro Academy channel, the pinned note will take you to the pinned message will take you to the page with all the decks to download. There's quizzes, there's exercises, you make your own game design document, et cetera, et cetera. It should be really instructive for anyone that still is in the early phases. I say rush through it and catch up, and we'll spend the next week or so applying what we learned to making a real game. And a lot of you have already done it, or at least started, but we'll keep going. So thanks again. Awesome stuff.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Bye,
Great
guys.
job, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah. I